Cancers, hello, hello, my loves. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. We're going to do some early morning reads today because I got shit to do. Yeah. Okay, it's storage unit day. So, like, I have to move all my shit in the storage today, and I'm just like, I don't want to. Okay. I mean, it's good. All things good, but like, also, pain in the ass. All things a pain in the ass. The mother, the fault line, the sword, the self, the shapeshifter, the threshold, the mystic, and the one. Cancers. I mean, the mother is the idea of identity, right? Holding on to an identity, gaining our identity out of things, and just really realizing that we need to release these identities because these identities leave us feeling really fractured. They leave us feeling like, who am I in the context of all of this? Because I just feel like who we have been in the context of other things, of other people's versions of their identities of us, have just left us feeling like broken, beaten down, abused. You know what I mean? Whether that's verbally or financially or emotionally, just feeling like we've taken a beating, and Mars has been in Cancer for the past year, basically. And it's just been like, ugh, you know? But also, we're coming out of this like 15-year long cycle with, I don't know, is like Platurn or Saturn or Pluto or something. I don't remember right now, y'all. I just had a little bit of coffee so far. But I feel like when we realize where all of these identities have really sold us short and fractured us out and left us feeling like pieced out versions of ourselves, it becomes very clear to us where we need to make the cuts, like this does not honor me in my entirety. And this does not honor me in my entirety. And this does not honor me in my entirety. And I feel like we're stepping into an era where we are only operating in a like at a level where it's like this honors my entirety, right? But before we could really allow for that entirety, we had to come out of our shells, right? And that's been in our reads for like a hot minute now. It's just that idea of like outgrowing our shells, coming out of our shells, crossing over, stepping out as a version of us that is in tune with our own entirety. We've been attuned. And I love that for us. Okay, Cancers. Let's see what else we can get for us. Oh, Cancers. Ace of Cups, the Devil, the King of Swords, the King of Pentacles, Strength, and the Five of Cups. Well, I mean, the whole identity fractured foundations, just feeling really confused by all of it and having to sort through a lot to really, well, because I think of like a yarn ball, right? I love to knit. I do. I would love to learn how to crochet because I feel like you can do so much more with crocheting. But for like I gotta teach my hands because I'm so used to knitting, that like crocheting, I'm like, what am I doing? But but I think of like if you're dealing with a ball of yarn, right? And you have to undo the yarn and it takes forever because it's like there's knots here and there's knots there and there's knots here and it's like, oh my god, the amount of time that I spent unraveling and unknotting this ball of yarn of like that is the mess of life, you know what I mean? And all of the places where it's gotten twisted and turned and pulling out all of that confusion and dealing with all of that, like that takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of patience. That takes a lot of like, I'm doing this because it has to be done. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well now I think of like Rapunzel. Is it Rapunzel? The story of the of the girl who's trapped in the tower with the thread, and she's like making magical things, and she's like kept under lock and key by the little troll. Well, anyways, the magical thread is the thread of life. And I feel like the thread of life is something that you've been untangling, but you've been untangling it so that you could utilize that magic. And when you're acting as creator rather than de-raveler, then you show up in a different role. You show up in power. And I just feel like, well, for some of us, Cancer is the one. I mean, the one is oftentimes, like that one person, that one relationship. But, I don't know, because I just feel like with the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles, it's more of like this, well, to go to like the de-raveling of the mystical string story. I think that like once you've done that, when you are able to really create with that, what you create is magic. It embodies a power that is like, I feel like people who were looking at you, I think it's like the Knight of Wands or the Knight of Pentacles in this deck, but it, it's that idea of like working on something, and people looking at you and being like, what are you doing even? You know what I mean? And you're just like, I'm doing things that you can't even comprehend. Like I'm unraveling magic, generational trauma. Transmuting energies. And when you do that, look out, world. Jupiter's coming into Cancer, y'all. Hey. So excited, so excited. And I feel like I've definitely been bearing witness to like the setup for it, and I'm really excited for that too. Well, because I feel like every time you undo a knot, every time you do something, like a little sprinkle of magic dust bursts on your face. You're like not undone, and then it's like poof. And you get like those downloads, you get those moments in time where spirit just says, like this is right. Like that separation was with purpose. Those I feel like those people, well, so in terms of like in your personal life, right? When we are super heavily involved in life, in the people that we love and our friends and our family and all of it, it is hard for us to see how to undo the knots because we're in the middle of them, right? So if you remove yourself from that and then you see those knots outside of those people who are most important to you, and you start to understand how you can undo the knots. When you undo the knots, you're undoing a knot of energy that is like a collective energy, right? It's an energy because as above, so below. If you're experiencing in one area, you're experiencing it in another. So you have to understand the magic that you're dealing with through the context of others. Well, it's funny because I was just like sitting this morning and like meditating and I want to say it was like 5 years ago. And I got a read from someone, and they shared with me that when I was a child, my mother got a read from a psychic who shared with her like what was going to like play itself out in my life. And when I looked back over my life and I And I viewed my relationship with my mother as a child all throughout my adulthood through the lens of that understanding. Everything made sense to me all of a sudden. And what a revelation. But then to have that knowledge like doesn't just make the magic disappear, it doesn't make the cords disappear, it doesn't make that generational trauma disappear. Then you have to like work through that and uncover like, where is it, where am I tied here, where am I tied here, where am I, you know what I mean, to like break out of that, to break out of that story that was created around you, to like to hold you in your place, to allow others to like take your magic, right? And that's a whole process, right? It's a process that leaves you feeling disconnected. It's a process that leaves you feeling mistrustful, because to have that level of trust broken, whether it's your mother or your, you know, like your family or your friends or whatever, however that's played itself out for you, business partners, you know, where you've just been like, wow, like I was like, that was a lifelong thing that I was unraveling. And life came at me, but it came at me in a way that showed me exactly what it was that I needed to unravel. I think of a Virgo read a few years ago, but it was like, mirror, mirror on the wall, expose my demons, one and all. Show me where the knots are. Help me get untied. You know, and I feel like we've been, and I don't know if you're dealing with a Virgo, if you have Virgo in your chart, but, you know, I just share that because I feel like it's a part of it. But when you unlock yourself, when you realize what you're doing and what you're working with and how to work with it, I feel like you're really able to call in what is meant for you. Call in your creation. Call in like, well, I just feel like this this calling card, right? This like calling card of this is what I'm doing. And this is like this is the magic that I'm working with, and this is what we're going to create. And I just think everything that you need, everything that you like, that is meant to align with that magic, just like that energetic calling, right? When you emanate that, like it's time, it's time. I don't know, I was doing this meditation yesterday. Oh, y'all, I just love her. But anyways, every time I take her class, she is like, she has me in tears by the end of class. Always. I'm like, oh, how? But she's such an amazing, energetic worker. Rachel in Sedona Wellness Cafe. If you haven't gone to any of her classes or worked with her, check her out because holy fuck. She's a little goddess, a little shining ball of light. But I always end up with a visual during the meditation. And the last class I had this, you know, it was very like a gray, woo, 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 kind of like held in energy. And I was like, well, I know I'm holding it together, but it's ready to come out. And this time it was more of like the golden like waves of light that were just like carrying out. And I was like, okay, like my energy's in flow again. Like I feel like that light is coming out again. I don't feel contained anymore. And so, you know, I share that because again, I just feel like this light, this call, this magic thread that's been unraveled, and this readiness to create and this calling to create. And I feel like you're calling into you what is meant for you, what is aligned with you, and I'm loving it, and I'm so excited. And Cancers, I hope that this resonates with all of us. If it does, please do give me a like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all again soon. Bye.